There is this yearning for something that always feels a little bit out of reach. It's like I'm dreaming and I'm almost there, but slipping through my fingers again. 50 Shades of Grey, that's where Neptune is. And that is so frustrating for the Martian energy. In one moment, you feel this deep, passionate connection with that person, and in the next moment, it will dissipate into disinterest. And it will leave both partners really confused. Good morning, my loves. Welcome back. So today we are talking about Mars, Square Neptune in Synastry. Now, what do we get when we have this sizzly pairing? Well, first of all, let's look at what Mars stands for and what Neptune stands for. Mars is our drive. Mars is our desire. Mars is how we get what we want in life. And Neptune is our idealism, our dreams. We can't really fully tap into. It's this, like I said, idealism. Now, what happens when one person's Mars and the other person's Neptune meet in a square? Well, what is a square? A square is a 90-degree angle, and a square is Martian energy. So it's a double whammy, really, right? It's this I want, and I get it. It's the ego really plays a big role when we deal with a square. Now, let's go through this. So what are the themes here? Well, the first theme is magnetic attraction and idealism. So we meet and instantly we are drawn, right? We are like, whoa, I want what they have. That's what I want. So Mars sees that vision that Neptune is and is like, I cannot figure this out. I don't know what it is, but I want it. And Neptune is like, oh, that person is driven. I like how that person moves through life. I don't really know yet how exactly they do it, but I sense the energy and I want this because I know I also have this within me, but possibly I am not living it out. So I'm gonna, hang on to that one so they live it out for me. But what's the lesson here? Well, we get to it later. Let's look at another theme here. Another theme for this pairing is emotional confusion and misalignment. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, there is a dissonance here between these two because on one end we have Mars's directness, and on the other end we have this elusiveness of Neptune that, even without a square, is really difficult to handle in a relationship, in a serious relationship. So Mars may feel very, very frustrated by Neptune's lack of clarity. And Neptune may perceive Mars as overly aggressive. And even Mars doesn't have to be aggressive, right? It's not that kind of aggression, but it's just the energy of I want this, I go for it. But over time, Neptune is like, oh, that's too much. It's too much for me. And also there is this feeling on the Neptunian side of they're just insensitive, towards me in general, towards my feelings. And again, what I always say, these energies flow both ways. Yes, the Neptune person will possibly feel the Neptune energy more, and then the Mars person will feel the Mars energy more. But at times we reverse the roles. So we will both feel both energetics in that relationship. We'll both feel it. So the way this can play out is that Mars is going to push for clarity, directness, direct action, decisions. Mars wants decisions. And Neptune is like, Neptune is like, oh, I'm in the gray zone. 50 Shades of Grey, that's where Neptune is. And that is so frustrating for the Martian energy. Like, are you black? Are you white? What are you? And Neptune is like, oh, I'm gray. And again, that just, it will feel so tense. So tense. And again, the tension will be felt by both people. Then, also what we can feel is tension when it comes to our spirituality and also to our sexuality. So the way this could look like, on a physical level, Mars and Neptune can create like a kind of like a dreamy energy, but it can also lead to disillusionment and issues in the bedroom. So the Martian energy is about this raw, unfiltered passion, while the Neptune energy is about feeling transcendence, right? This transcendent feeling in the bedroom. It's not just about, yeah, let's do it, let's go. It's like, oh my God, let me experience all of it. And that can lead to tension in this area because you don't seem to be on the same level, on the same frequency in that area. And sometimes this can feel prickly, but more often than not, especially with time, it will just feel like unsatisfying for both. There is this yearning for something that always feels a little bit out of reach. It's like I'm dreaming and I'm almost there, but slipping through my fingers again. In one moment, you feel this deep, passionate connection with that person, and in the next moment, it will dissipate into disinterest, and it will leave both partners really confused. What do we have? So what do you have now? 1, 2, 3, 4 is be careful when it comes to manipulation and deception. Now, what do I mean by that? One aspect of this pairing, the square between Mars and Neptune, is deception. And not just deceiving the other, but deceiving self. Because we always deceive self when we deceive someone else. It's almost like there's an unspoken agenda, and Neptune's energy can really blur our vision. Like our vision and our sensory vision. So both parties might fall into delusions, denial, and secrecy. So there's again this like feeling of the Neptunian energy will feel that the Martian energy is too direct, too forceful, too demanding, wants too much. And the Mars person feels like Neptune is elusive, not clear, not honest, not direct, doesn't really say what they want, doesn't really say what they are doing. You know, they might say, yeah, you know, they kind of talk around the bushes, and that will lead to not wanting to trust or not being able to trust the other. The fifth theme in this pairing is spiritual growth and also spiritual healing. And by spiritual healing, I'm not just talking about something elusive, I'm talking about inner child healing, really. Because this is also an aspect here. If we start understanding what we are doing here, and we are both doing the inward journey, right? We are both looking at why this is rubbing us the wrong way, why we are feeling insecure or not seen or not heard, or, you know, this elusive kind of lack of clarity. If we understand that this is just a representation of what we hold inside, and then we look inside and we go inside and we check what's going on there, we can rearrange things within and heal within the relationship. Now, of course, this is, you know, easier said than done oftentimes. But Neptune's compassionate energy can soften the edges of the Martian energy. And again, this doesn't mean that the Neptune person is doing that with the Mars person. This is an energy that we both can utilize and you know, where we can soften our own Martian energy, you know, where it's needed to be softened. And then on the other hand, the Martian energy can give direction. It can help us to give direction and turn our dreams into reality. But again, we have to address the inner insecurities, right? The insecurities we have in terms of our dreams, where we are like, yeah, this would be nice, but I can't reach that. It's someone else can, I can't, because where I come from, because of, I don't make enough, whatever. We all have our limitations, and we all have ways to argue for our limitations. So how can you navigate this particular aspect if you have that in your synastry chart? Well, the first thing is setting boundaries, right? Setting boundaries is so important, specifically with this aspect for both people. It's not just one person, both people need to know their boundaries. When we talk about boundaries, we also talk about clarity, which is obviously difficult in this pairing, right? So we have to understand that we got to communicate, we got to communicate about the things that bother us, that we find hard to handle, and then, communicate what we would need to find more clarity. Also, avoiding idealization, which again is also a very hard one here, because there is all this nebulousness and this elusiveness, right? Neptune is a very tricky aspect but Neptune is a very tricky energy, specifically when it comes in a square, also in an opposition often, and in a conjunction. But yeah, specifically in a square, it is a very difficult energy. And essentially, we need to learn to see the other, realistically, not idealistically. Is that a word? You know what I mean. We got to see what is in front of us and not what could be. Because that is, that's a nice to have, but it's not there. What is there? Taking what is and not idealizing, living in your fantasy world in that relationship. Then another one that is particularly beautiful here could be utilizing this energy creatively. Because we have this super creative energy with Neptune. And then we have Mars who can take it and actually do something with it, right? Turn it into something. And this, this could be anything. Create a business together. Just go painting, like anything that gets your creative juices flowing, both of you. Sometimes it's just one partner starts painting and the other is just, in awe, and then also gets inspired to use their own creativity to do something. One more thing here, be mindful of power dynamics. The Martian energy will try to overpower because it wants direction, it wants clarity, it wants to go, it wants to do. And Neptune, or the Neptune energy, can feel overpowered by Mars. And what the Neptune energy will do then is shut down. And that won't help anyone. So be careful here with that as well. But yeah, the potential outcomes, well, we have, first of all, short-term intensity and then long-term confusion, which we want to avoid. Again, I just talked about how you can approach this. Then we could have a huge, tremendous spiritual connection, but also emotional distance, because we will feel not heard, not seen, overpowered, too much. There's this energy of, oh, it's just too much for both people, but in different ways. And then there is, on one end of the spectrum, the transformative healing, but on the other end of the spectrum, we kind of have this repeated disillusionment constantly over and over again. And at some point, it may just be too much. So if you notice that pattern, again, go inward and check in with you. First, boundaries. What are the boundaries? Communicate the boundaries. Communication is so important here, specifically because we have this lack of clarity in the air. So if you have any questions about this aspect, please feel free to comment below. If you want a personal reading, synastry, natal chart reading, you can book it by clicking on the link below. Anything else, I'm here for you. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.